Hi all and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to demonstrate how to build a 5000 milliamp 4-cell lithium ion battery using high performance 21700 Molicel P50B lithium ion cells. We're going to cover the essential tools and materials and step-by-step process required to assemble the pack safely and correctly. This will be a battery I'm going to be using in an up-and-coming build, which we'll talk about in the future because it's a little bit further down the track still. But it'll also be a battery I'm going to be using in other planes that I've got as well, so I may even build a couple of them. So if you intend to do your own battery with this video, follow along carefully because constructing your own battery involves significant risks if it's not done properly. So take care if you do it. The cells we're using in this build are Molicel P50B lithium ion cells. The size of them is 21700. Each cell features a flat top design with the capacity of 5000 milliamps. A continuous discharge current of 60 amps, which is good for high amp draw craft, and it has a nominal voltage of 3.6 volts, and a maximum charge voltage of 4.2 volts, and a cutoff at 2.5 volts. For this build, you'll need the following tools and materials: a spot welder with a roll of nickel strip, a soldering iron with good quality solder, a multimeter, a balance lead suitable for 4-cell batteries, 12 gauge red and black wire, and an XT60 connector. To complete the pack, heat shrink tubing is recommended for a professional finish, although flexible tape can also be used as an alternative. Additionally, I use isopropyl rubbing alcohol to clean any residual flux from the soldered areas. It is recommended to use battery insulation gaskets between the positive terminal and the nickel strip to prevent any risk of short circuits. In this particular build, I have actually run out of insulation gaskets, so you will not see me use them in this video. It is suggested to use them. If you don't, use them at your own risk. We'll begin by preparing the main battery lead, an XT60 connector. While pre-made leads can be purchased online from places like AliExpress quite cheaply, in this build I've chosen to fabricate one. Both wires were cut to approximately 200 millimeters in length, after which the XT60 connector was soldered to the ends and finished with heat shrink tubing. The final lead length may be adjusted later in the build once the battery assembly is near completion. Next, we'll move on to preparing the battery cells. It's recommended to check the voltage of each cell with your multimeter first to make sure that all cells are well balanced and at a suitable voltage before beginning the build. Begin by cutting 3 nickel strips, each approximately 30 millimeters in length. These can be trimmed later to achieve a more precise fit prior to spot welding. Arrange the 4 cells in the desired configuration, ensuring correct orientation and alignment, and position them ready for the first nickel strip to be spot welded in place. Position the first nickel strip, as demonstrated in the video, across the positive and negative terminals while maintaining the correct cell orientation shown here. Ensure the first strip sits flat and securely in place before proceeding with the spot welding process. Before beginning, test your spot welder to determine the optimal power setting, one that provides a strong bond without damaging the cells. Use a few spare nickel strips to trial the weld strength before working on the actual battery. On my setup, a mid-range power setting produced reliable spot welds that do not penetrate the nickel strip while ensuring a solid and secure connection to the cell terminals. Once the optimal spot welder setting has been established, proceed to weld the first nickel strip, connecting the first terminal to the negative terminal as demonstrated in the video. Ensure each weld is clean, consistent, and provides a solid electrical connection. With the first 2 cells securely joined, we can now proceed to the remaining 2 cells. Next, flip the battery pack so that the previously welded nickel strip is positioned at the bottom and rear. The next 2 nickel strips should then be placed as illustrated, ensuring proper alignment for spot welding. Temporarily secure the battery pack to ensure stability during spot welding. In this instance, electrical tape has been used to hold the cells firmly in place. Proceed to spot weld the remaining 2 nickel strips, ensuring each terminal receives a minimum of 4 secure welds. Once completed, the connected strip should resemble the configuration shown here. With the 3 nickel strips now securely in place, we can proceed to connect the balance cable. It is essential to use a multimeter to verify the correct wiring connections before soldering. With the battery positioned as shown, apply a small amount of flux to the center of the nickel strip. This will be the soldering point for the first 2 balance leads corresponding to cell 1 and cell 3. It is crucial to use a multimeter at this stage to accurately identify and confirm the correct strips for each cell before soldering. Arrange the balance cable in the configuration shown. Starting with the red wire, proceed to the first black wire, which corresponds to cell 1. The next wire is for cell 2, followed by the wire for cell 3, and finally the black wire at the end corresponds to cell 4. It is essential to ensure each balance wire is soldered to the correct nickel strip to maintain proper cell monitoring. With the connections for cells 1 and 3 verified and securely soldered, carefully flip the battery pack over to assess the appropriate terminal for soldering the wire corresponding to cell 2. After applying flux to the nickel strip, carefully solder the balance wire corresponding to cell 2, ensuring a clean and secure connection. With the balance leads now connected, the remaining positive and negative terminals at the front of the batteries will be used to solder the main power leads with the XT60 connector, along with the remaining red positive wire and the final black balance wire corresponding to cell 4. Before soldering the remaining wires, it's highly recommended to double check all connections using a multimeter. Any wiring errors should be identified and corrected at this stage prior to final assembly and securing the battery pack. Begin by measuring the total voltage across the main battery terminals. In this case, a reading of 13.99 volts confirms the full pack voltage and proper series connection of all cells. Flip the battery pack over as shown and measure the voltage across cell 1. The reading of 3.50 volts confirms that cell 1 is correctly connected and functioning as expected. Next, measure the voltage across cell 3. The reading of 10.49 volts confirms that cell 3 is correctly identified and properly connected. Finally, verify the voltage across the last nickel strip, which corresponds to cell 2. A reading of 6.99 volts confirms that cell 2 is correctly connected and functioning as intended. With all connections and voltages verified, we can now secure the battery pack. In this build, hot glue is used for stabilisation, although high quality electrical tape can also be employed as an effective alternative. With the battery pack now secured, we can proceed to solder the main power leads and remaining balance wires, completing the assembly of the battery. Once the main power lead and balance wires have been soldered, the top of the battery should resemble the configuration as shown. At this stage, carefully inspect all solder joints, correct any weak or incomplete connections. Ensuring all balance and power cables are securely connected is crucial, as poor connections can lead to battery failure or a fire hazard. Once you have verified that all connections are secure, measure the total voltage of the pack at the XT60 connector. This reading should match the voltage previously recorded before soldering the main power leads. Any discrepancy indicates a potential issue within the pack, such as a poor solder joint or faulty nickel strip connection, which must be identified and corrected before use. Next, we will verify all cell voltages using the balance plug. Begin by measuring across the outermost pins, which should display the total voltage of the full pack. Move to the next pin to verify cell 3. A measured voltage of 10.49 volts confirms that this cell is correctly identified and functioning properly. Proceed to the next pin to verify cell 2. A reading of 6.98 volts confirms that this cell is correctly connected and functioning as intended. And finally, move to the last pin to verify cell 1. A measured voltage of 3.49 volts confirms proper connection. If the voltages do not decrease sequentially across the pins, this indicates that a balance wire has been connected to the wrong cell. To correct this, adjust the pins on the balance plug so that each voltage reading decreases progressively along the plug, reflecting the proper cell sequence. With all connections and voltages verified, the battery can now be finished with heat shrink tubing. In this build, 85mm blue heat shrink from AliExpress was used, providing a clean, professional appearance while adding an additional layer of protection to the pack. Before applying the heat shrink, I wrapped the ends of the battery with 50mm black electrical tape and also secured the body for added reinforcement. The heat shrink was cut longer than the battery to allow it to cover and wrap around the ends of the pack, ensuring a secure and professional finish. With the battery pack now complete, I label the cell type and total pack capacity in milliamps for easy reference. Congratulations on successfully building your own battery, a task that carries inherent risks if not done correctly. When executed safely, however, constructing your own packs can add an exciting dimension to the hobby, almost as rewarding as building an FPV plane. I hope you enjoyed this battery build and feel inspired to create your own, potentially saving you money for your FPV projects. Stay safe, enjoy the hobby, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye and bye for now.